Good afternoon. My name is Jessica Velasquez. I'm one of the special ed teachers here at Princeton Public Schools. This presentation is bilingual. I actually recorded myself just speaking in Spanish, so it wouldn't be confusing going back and forth between Spanish and English. So now I am going to guide you through your child's IEP in English. So you will see that both the things are in Spanish and English. So you will see a mixture of it. The good thing is that your IEP is in English, so you will be able to follow me through with your document. If you don't have it, feel free to pause this presentation, go get your IEP, and then you can follow me along through every title. If by any chance you misplaced it and you have no idea where your child's IEP is at, feel free to send an email or note to your child's teacher or to the case manager so that you can get another copy. On the first page, again, you're gonna see both languages. I have in black the English one, and I put in red the Spanish one, so you will know exactly which ones. You're gonna see more of the Spanish, just because this document that we get in our meetings, the IP meetings, they're all in English. So we have an advantage of there's more English. So for student guardian information, this is in the front page. You will see all the general information, and it's very important that if you see any mistakes or anything that is outdated, to let us know so that it can be corrected. Your child's name should be spelled correctly, your name, the address, the phone number, emails, everything should be updated and it should be correct. Remember, an IEP is a legal document, and for that reason everything should be correct in there. We are still working off the first page. If you go to your left side where it says meeting or agreement information, it's just saying when did this meeting take place and what was the reason for this meeting. Was it an annual review? Was it the initial IEP meeting? What was the reason for you guys to come together and have this meeting? Still working on the left where it says IEP information. Here, again, I put them in Spanish because it's in English, but if you follow me with your document, you're going to see that it says projected IEP start date. So when is it that we are required to start that IEP implemented? When is the end date of that IEP? And usually if the end date is, for example, on April 3rd, then definitely you and the child study team, everyone should get together before April 3rd in order for another plan to be put into effect. It's going to detail whether the child requires a behavior plan, any modifications or accommodations for the child, supplementary aids, any assistive technology, support for the personnel, or testing accommodations. We're still working off the first page where we have the placement category for the child. How much of the day, percentage of the day is a child going to spend within the general education classroom or within the surroundings and being together with other general education students. Again, because this is an IEP, it's very individualized. It can vary how much that percentage is going to be. We're still on the left side, still first page, status for duration of the IEP. So basically it's just when this IEP is going to start and when would it end. And you're going to see a lot of the things are also kind of repetitive. It's just that in some sections, those things go into more details. Most recent eligibility information. And that one is just, when was the child eligible for special education? What was the classification? For example, was it autism? Was it ADHD? Again, very important that that is updated and that you also look through the information and make sure that it's correct. Whether your child requires extended school year, which some was called summer school, the most recent annual meeting, the evaluation meetings, and any reevaluation that happens. Where it says consent to waive reevaluation received, that pretty much has to do if you are waiving your rights for your child to be reevaluated. And that was more common when the pandemic happened, when it was either it was impossible, or because of circumstances at that point, some parents decided we do not want to reevaluate at this point. Still on the first page is very important. It has a lot of general information, where it says summaries of special education programs and related services, but it also says the same thing for summary of extended school year special education program related services. It just details what are the programs that we are recommending, when will be the start and end date of that particular program or services, and how frequent would it happen. So it can be from being in a self-contained class, from being in resource, from having in-class support, from having occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, and the list goes on. What kind of services, the start date, finish date, how long, like how long would it happen during the day? Would it be for an hour? Would it be for half a day? So those things are being detailed there, and the frequency of it. The initial eligibility information, it's pretty much all it goes back to the start. When was the child referred? When was their consent to evaluate? When was it determined that the child was eligible? The initial IEP meeting, the initial consent to implement the IEP, and the initial IEP implemented. So when was the first time that IEP was implemented? Now, that was the whole first page. If you turn the page, now we're going to go into the different areas. IEP participants, who was there? So it's everyone, anyone that was there. It can be an aunt and uncle. Who was there? What is their title? So pretty much what role does that person play in the child's life, and the date of the meeting. The present levels of academic achievement and functional performance and considerations when developing the IEP. This is all the evaluations that took place in order for this determination of whether the child requires special education was determined. So every single one is involved there. And again, you will see it, and it's very individual. In some of the IEPs, you're going to see a neurologist report. So it all depends what was suggested and that is included there. As we move on, for example, I'm on page 7. It all depends how lengthy your IEP is. Some IEPs are longer, some are not. Like, for example, the IEP that I have in front of me has 17 pages. So it all depends on the child's needs. Where it says statewide and district-wide assessment results, again, the statewide, like the NJSLA, district-wide, like iReady or Acadius is used right now with the younger children. What were the results of those tests? This for the standard test results are reported there. In the other area, you're going to see strengths of the students. It's very important that we not only emphasize on what does the kid need, like what are their kids' needs, but also let's look at the positive too. What are their strengths and everything? Those are areas that we also should focus on. Concerns of the parents. This is where you should I always say, speak up. Anything that's bothering you. Maybe you're not in agreement with the IEP, or there's something that is concerning that your child have told you, or there's difficulty that you're having. Fine, everything is better in school, but you're having trouble stepping out with your child to the grocery store. What can we those are your concerns, and we may be able to give you strategies or at least guide you on what to do. Present level academics and functional performance. So what determined that this kid was eligible for special education, and also a summary of everyone that works with your child, whether it's the math teacher, the language arts teacher, the gen ed teacher, special ed teacher, or therapists. Anyone that is currently servicing your child should be writing a report there. How the student's disability affects his or her involvement and progress in the general education curriculum. So there is indicated whether the child has limited English proficiency, if they have a communication need, if their behavior impedes the child, if the child needs assistive technology. So it goes into details. If the child is deaf or is visually impaired, what are the things that are being considered when putting this together? And when putting together, like how are these things affecting the child's progress? Which is needs, academics, development, functional, and any other needs that result from the student's disability and special considerations. So there we go. Like, what can we do? What are this? Pretty much, it goes down to what are the strategies that that this child needs in order to make progress, in order for them to meet their maximum potential. What are their needs if they need to be be met? And as with every kid, they're different. Every kid it requires something different. It's not a one size fits all. So what are we gonna do in different areas to help them move forward? These two are pretty much together, statement of transition planning. And this is more when there are transition. As your child turns 14, we need to start thinking about that future, how their transition from being in school to pretty much being out in the world. What are the plans? We need to start planning, not just when they're in their last year, think, okay, now he's gonna leave the school. No, once he's 14, what are the plans as we go through? What activities can we put together? What strategies can we put together? Transfer of right at age of majority. Yes, you're actually going to see a date there. Once your child gets into that position, they are considered an adult. So, and at that point, they are in charge of their IEP. Again, it's individual. So there will be some circumstances where we might have to take another path. But for the majority of the time, your child is an adult, and at that time, the rights are transferred to them. Behavior interventions, and if the child has any behavior that interferes with their learning or even interferes with their safety or other safety, a behavior plan should be put in place, and it should be in detail there. Where it says annual measurable goals, that's where the teachers or therapists are going to be working on. It should be detailed there. There should be a criteria of what is considered mastered, and how is that professional going to evaluate whether the child master it or not. One side note, only because it might have 3 or 4 objectives or things that they're going to work on, it doesn't mean other things don't get worked on. It just means that these are going to have an emphasis, and these are the ones they're going to use to report. This just over here, what kind of modification, accommodations, supplementary aid, technology are going to be used with your child. Supports for school personnel. So this one, it's more for, if it's a general ed teacher, your child's in a general ed classroom, what supports are we going to be given to them to make sure they are providing all the supports that are detailed in this IEP there. So what can we do to make sure that every staff is actually implementing the IEP and supporting your child? Progress reporting, you will get a progress report of how your child is doing in the objectives that are detailed in this IEP. Rationale for removing from general education. So here is like why is it, what was considered, and because of it, why was it determined that this child needs to be removed from general education? And it can just be like just for an hour, it can be for half a day, or maybe for the whole day. Again, it's individualized. So why was it considered that this child needs to be removed? Modifications in extracurricular and non-academic activities. There should be support. There should be modification. There should be strategies for the child to be able to participate in extracurricular activities. So therefore, what can we do to make sure that they have the same rights that their peers to participate in these activities. The placement decision. What were the planning activities for transitions to be in the student, to have the student in a separate setting? What were the activities planned? How was the transitioning happening? What is the length of the day? So all this information needs to go there. This area where it says statement of extended school year for the special education programs and related services. It entails if your child is going to be participating in extended school year, which is the summer school, and if they are going to be there, where will the summer school or extended school year be happening, and what would be the programs and the services, how the frequency and duration that will happen. And again, as I said before, some of it becomes kind of repetitive. This has to do with the district and statewide assessment. What are they, and will they participate in it? The graduation requirements, the attendance, the credit hours. Typically in New Jersey, a high schooler needs 120 credit hours to graduate. Again, it's the individualized. So this, as your child gets closer to that high school era, to that time that we need to be considered, we look at the IEP. What does the kid need? What does the student need? Are we on target? Statement of special education programs and related services. This is just a summary, a whole summary of everything that your kid will be receiving, that your child will be receiving. What programs, related services, and how everything will unfold. Notice requirements for the IEP and placement. So again, you get your notice is very, you get the notice of the IEP and the kids and the student placement. And your last page is your rights. As a parent, you have rights. As a parent, you also are part of the team. You are the child study team also. So you have the rights, and you can voice them out too. There is a parental rights in special education price. There's a booklet. You should have one. If you don't have one, you can ask your case manager to get you one. That last page also has the name of our director, the assistant superintendent of student services. It has her name, it has her phone number, and it has other organizations that you can reach out if you're not really understanding something, or you feel you need some more help. Definitely reach out. As a parent, we always want the best for our own kids, so definitely the school is our ally, but also there are other organizations that will help us out. So I hope this helps you understand your child IEP. I know it's a lengthy document, and it's a little bit repetitive at times, but it's good to be able to know what is it that you're signing and what is it that you are saying yes to for your child. Thank you.